Hey, welcome back. It's a Money Monday edition of Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco, and now we mix it up. We've got a couple of my favorites in here today to mix it up for you. Josh Kravitz joins us on the left. He's a Democratic strategist, the attorney, also candidate for New York City Council. And Jen Kerns is here. Thank you. Thank God you're back again.
Happy New Year.
Jen was former speechwriter for the presidential debates on Fox and spokesperson for the California Republican Party, contributor to Hill. Great friends of the show, both. Thank you guys for joining us. So let's start off first with Josh. We had a nice conversation with Michael Tracy. He's an independent journalist. He usually is fair. You know what I mean? He was totally against the whole Mueller probe, and now he's totally against this attack on Iran. So I'd like to get your take on where we're at, because all I hear is escalate, 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 and no one says power.
Well, okay. I mean, I think the main thing is when we're making military choices and we're taking military action, we want to take military actions that advance our strategic interests, right? And so the question is does this advance our strategic interests? Because we're not in the business of killing bad guys just for the sake of killing bad guys. We could kill Kim in North Korea if we wanted to. I mean, he met Trump, we knew where he was, and we know where he is anyways. But the reason we don't do that is because there's 50,000 rockets trained at Seoul right now with 10 million people living there. It doesn't make sense for us to do that. But if we were in the business of killing bad guys, we could. So we killed a bad guy. Everyone can agree on that. No one should be shedding any tears for that. The question is whether it advances our strategic interest. And we'll see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of consequences, and we'll see what the consequences are. We got into Iraq, we killed Saddam Hussein, and 17 years later, we're here. Or we're still here. We're still there in Iraq.
Let us hear your counterpoint.
Well, look, I subscribe to Ronald Reagan's peace through strength mantra. There is no greater strategic signal of American interest than annihilating someone in the Baghdad airport space, someone who has targeted 500 U.S. troops, has probably had a role in attacking the U.S. Embassy. This was fair game, and President Trump was right to do so. In terms of the political ramifications, the advantage goes to both the Republicans and to Trump. If you look at the Gallup poll on matters like this, terrorism and global conflict, the advantage goes to Republicans on a 2-to-1 basis. You look at the Gallup poll in the 2016 race, the last presidential contest we had, Americans trusted Republicans more than Democrats by 55 to 23% margin.
I want to go to impeachment with you guys, but I saw a weird poll today that even though Joe Biden seems to be in the lead, only I think 49% of Democrats who were for him were enthusiastic about being for him, and 66% of the people who were for Bernie were enthusiastic about it. So he's really bringing the party down in the enthusiasm department.
Right.
I think.
And enthusiasm on Election Day is all that counts. And this is the big problem for the Democratic Party. If you have a candidate on the left and it looks like it's going to be Joe Biden, unless Mike Bloomberg continues to make some moves and drop some serious TV ads, which I think he will. But if Biden becomes the candidate, you have a voter turnout problem on the Democratic side. And it's a big problem for them.
I think some of the things that are happening with impeachment are actually hurting Biden as well, because all the focus is on impeachment.
Well, you know, I think your point is well taken, particularly in regards to Iowa. Now, I don't know if it means that it drags down the Democratic Party. I mean, I think you guys like to say a lot of times that the Democratic Party is in disarray, and I like to think back 4 years ago, because it's like, isn't it about 4 years ago now when Trump was saying that Ted Cruz's father killed Jack Kennedy? Isn't it about 4 years from now when Donald Trump? Isn't it about 4 years from now when Donald Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's personal phone number, or they said that Trump was, I mean, like, the Republican Party was in quite disarray. But what I will say is, for a caucus, you got to get people to come to a gymnasium for 2 hours on a given night, and they have to be enthusiastic to do that. They might have to get childcare, they might have to ask to have a couple hours off of work. So enthusiasm really matters, particularly in the Iowa caucus. And then in the Iowa caucus, additionally, you need to have 15% in order to register for the delegates to count. So I think that it's something that has to be on the mind of the Biden supporters, which is, and I think at the end of the day, what it speaks to about Biden's core constituency is there's a lot of people who are worried about electability. And the problem with thinking that way is electability is a very nebulous concept, and you're trying to account for what other people think. And I think a lot of Biden supporters are not even super attracted to his.
Has now said that they would like to see this whole thing go away and just get back to business.
Right. Well, and here's the strategic win that Republicans now have, and Mitch McConnell now controls the calendar as it relates to the Senate calendar. He could actually keep the likes of Elizabeth Warren and others in D.C. and keep everything. It shows a lack of enthusiasm. If you're only an anti-Trump candidate and you're only going to the polls because you hate Trump, that does not represent voter enthusiasm. People then get waylaid. They drop their kids off at somewhere else, they take their clothes to the cleaners, and they forget to vote. That is the lack of voter enthusiasm on the ground, on the streets on election day.
I think we're conflating two things, which is impeachment and voter enthusiasm. Now, from what I understand, 55% of Americans are interested in at least impeachment, possibly removal.
That's over. We already did that.
Well, not removal. And a huge percentage, like 75% of the population, at least wants to see the facts come out, at least wants to see people testify. And this is a constitutional duty. So you guys can laugh about it and say, oh, well, he's got all the cards.
Didn't the facts come out? Didn't the House run this whole investigation?
Well, John Bolton this morning said that he's interested in testifying. You know, he was the guy who was sitting there calling.
I don't think he said that. You don't usually do that. He did not say that.
He said
did not say, hey, I'm interested.
He said he'll
He said, if I get a subpoena, I will respond to it. That doesn't mean he's interested.
Well, you know what it means? You know what it does mean? He has two options. He can drag it down in the courts for a matter of years, or he can say, you know what, this is a duly authorized subpoena, which the courageous people have.
He said he'll come in. Okay,
either way, it's a win for Trump.
100%.
Either way, it's a win for Trump. If McConnell says case dismissed, it's a win for Trump. And it makes Nancy Pelosi look silly for holding on to the articles.
You know
this
what?
long.
Trump can't ever lose. Trump can't lose. He's a winner.
That's right.
He's always a winner. Trump can't ever lose.
We may actually go for a third term.
Right, and look, if it goes to trial, we get to hear from the Inspector General report.
There's this crazy meme going around the internet that if he gets impeached, but he doesn't get removed by the Senate, then he gets to run for a third term because nullified. Not true. Just so you know, that's a urban legend. That's a memification of a Twitterversification or something. But
Some
not real.
members of Congress have stated it on the House floor, so it's pretty serious to me.
I like this. That was some great conversation, but I'm getting sick and tired of these award shows where they're always using their platform or their perch to take political stabs. Ricky Gervais, if you ask me, slaughtered him to start the whole show last night. It was pretty funny. But let's take a look at what Michelle Williams had to say. All right. Sorry.
Women 18 to 118, when it is time to vote, please do so in your own self-interest. It's what men have been doing for years.
A little dramatic there, I think. I've run a whole bunch of different campaigns in local politics and stuff. If you hang out at the polling booths, you see a lot of women there. So, I mean, in some instances, I think you see more women there because they're dropping the kids off to school and then they go vote and stuff. But do we really need that at our award shows?
Was your objection to the substance of what she said or the fact that she's getting political at her moment?
Not the substance.
Okay.
But I'm just making an observation that I think women are doing pretty darn good getting themselves
Women
to
are
polls,
the majority of voters.
In my personal view.
Women are the majority of voters in America. I mean, from her.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't know if the platform is not the right place.
Right.
And if you're Michelle Williams and you got the platform, maybe dial in on something better than
and look, and
vote.
she's saying this in the wake of 4 million women participating in the Women's March after Donald Trump's inauguration. I mean, she seems 3 years too late on this message. Look, women do represent the #1 voting bloc in America, just slightly. In the state of California, the single female is the largest voting bloc in the state of California. Not families, not men. The single career woman is the largest voting bloc in the state of California.
But just going back to the initial point.
Women, we got this.
Well, that's great. I hope women vote, and when women do vote, on the whole, they vote Democratic, and it'll help a Democratic candidate.
There you go.
Not on the national security issue. Not on the national security issue.
We're running out of time, but just on the final thought, isn't there a better place than the award shows?
So, you know, I think it's interesting. I think you have a forum and you're exercising your First Amendment right. And I've kind of had a change of heart. I used to agree with you that there was a better forum than the award shows. And now I've come to think, you know, you have that forum. Hey, I wish I could talk to 30 million people and say what I think about this president. I get to talk to 75 million homes.
Yeah, we'll let you talk to 70 million homes right here. You don't have to use
they
your
could all
40
watch,
seconds when you
yeah,
win
but
your
you know,
Golden
Sunday
Globe.
night when
Joe.
everybody's home watching.
It would be fine to use that platform, but they don't live by these creeds in their personal lives.
Yeah.
And Joaquin Phoenix called him out. He said, no need to take those jets, private jets, to Palm Springs. I thought that was good. I saw Kate Blanchett in the Whole Foods Midtown Manhattan last week. She wasn't talking about saving the planet then, as she was stacking her groceries full. So,
All right. We're going to take a quick break. Jen Kerns, Josh Kravitz, thank you very much. This is the new K&K segment, we're going to have to call it, the Kerns and Kravitz moment. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back at you right after this with more Liquid Lunch.